Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello learners, welcome to your math lesson of symmetry. In this particular lesson, we are going to cover the introduction to symmetry. By the end of this class, you will be able to know what do you mean by symmetrical figures, what do you know about non-symmetrical figures and symmetrical patterns. Okay, so starting with what is symmetry. Look at these figures in front of you. What do you notice in these figures? Look at the first one, a butterfly that you see. Do you see a line in between? What do you think this line represents? Similarly, look at the tiger. Do you see the face of the tiger has been divided exactly into two equal parts? What do you see in the two parts? Similarly, look at the image of Taj Mahal. What do you see? If you draw a straight line exactly in between, what do you think you'll notice? If this is where you can draw a line, what do you notice about this particular image of Taj Mahal? Do you see in each of these images, both the sides, that is on the left side and the right side of this line, which is in between, they are exactly the same? Is that right? Now look at some more images. Look at this circle. Just imagine you have drawn this circle on a paper and you are folding this paper exactly into half. So the line that you will see in between, this line is basically dividing this particular circle into symmetrical figure, which is same on the left and the right hand side of this particular line, which is called as the line of symmetry. Okay, so here comes a new term that you need to remember. What is it? The line of symmetry. Anything that you see in an image which divides it is exactly into two equal halves, we call it the line of symmetry, right? Now look at the next image. Similarly, you can see in pentagon, in a rectangle, in triangle, in this heart shape, in the square. And similarly, you can see the images of these alphabets. All the lines that you see which are dividing all these images and alphabets into two halves, we call it the line of symmetry. With this, let us see what we can define symmetry with. It says, when we fold a paper in such a way that the picture is divided into two equal halves, then the line which divides the picture into two halves is called the line of symmetry. I hope this is clear. Now, here the line divides this particular star into two halves. So, what do we call this line? This particular line is called as the line of symmetry. Okay, it is also called as the mirror line. Why a mirror line? Because if we place a mirror on this particular line, what will you observe? You will observe that exactly the same thing is seen on the other half as well. Okay, so it says that if we place the mirror on that line, then one side of the picture will fall exactly on the other side of the picture. Okay, now look at the non-symmetrical figures. Okay, like we just saw that here when we were dividing, say, this particular figure A, okay, and this is a line that I have drawn. I can see exactly two equal parts on either side of this alphabet A when I have divided by this particular line of symmetry. But do you think each and every figure can be symmetrical? Is it possible? The answer is no. Not all figures are symmetrical. For example, look at this parallelogram in front of you and look at the line of symmetry. This particular figure is not symmetrical, as if you're going to fold this image from this particular dotted line, then it will not have it into two equal halves. If you see that this is turned, like if you fold this, you will see that the lines, they're not overlapping exactly to each other. Look at this particular image here. Here we have a symmetric and asymmetric. Asymmetric is also non-symmetric. So these two terms you use for those figures which are not symmetric. What is it? Either you say they are non-symmetric or you can say they are asymmetric. Okay. So the first image of a tree that you see, it can be exactly divided into two equal parts if you can think about folding with this particular line of symmetry, right? Now look at the second one. If you are going to turn this particular image of asymmetrical tree, you will notice that they are not overlapping. If it is overlapping, it will be something like this. but it is not overlapping, so the image is different, right? So these are the non-symmetrical figures. Now here are some more examples. Let us see which all images are symmetrical and which are non-symmetrical. Okay, so look at the first one. If I'm going to draw a line like this, it's going to divide this image into two halves. Similarly, if I draw a line over here, still I can fold and get two equal parts. So this particular image is a symmetrical figure. Similarly, look at this one. We can divide it over here. We can divide it over here. So it is also symmetrical. Now similarly, a circle, it is also symmetrical. In fact, I can draw as many lines as I can in a circle. Now, if this is a triangle and say this is an isosceles triangle, I can draw this kind of a line which is dividing this triangle into two equal parts. Now here, it's just a random scribble that has done. So we have got no line of symmetry for this particular figure, right? So this particular figure is called as the non-symmetrical figure, or we call it asymmetrical figure. Now look at this one. Again, if you are going to divide, this particular figure will not be symmetrical. Now this alphabet H can be symmetrical over here, or we can even find a line of symmetry like this, right? Now this particular image that we see, this is not a symmetrical figure. We can clearly not divide it into two equal halves by any line of symmetry. Now this one, definitely we can divide it into two halves. So this can be here, here, or here, right? So these many lines of symmetries are possible for this figure. Now this one is not a symmetrical figure, and this one has got this as the line of symmetry. So I hope you have got some idea how we can find the line of symmetry and how we can find which figures are symmetrical and which figures are asymmetrical. Moving to the next one. Making these symmetrical figures. So there are different ways by which you can draw these symmetrical figures. One of that way is by ink blot devils that you can draw. Okay. So to make ink blot devils, what can you do? You need to take a piece of paper, and you need to fold it into a half. Okay. Then what you do? Open the paper again and put some ink dots on the paper. Just roughly put some ink dots on it. And then you press again those halves together, and then press it like very tight on your palm. Press that particular paper which has got ink dots in it. Okay. So when you're going to open that page, now what you'll observe is that you have a symmetrical pattern on the fold with the particular line of symmetry that you have drawn by folding the paper. Okay. Now you can see this image here. This is the fold of the paper. This is the line of symmetry. So this is your paper. Okay. So this is a rough image. Probably this is the kind of a paper that you took. And if you just put some ink dots and you fold the paper, press it tightly between your palms, open it up, this is what you will see in front of you. And you can draw as many images as you want. Okay. Now what more you can do is you can have inked string patterns. This is very interesting. I must recommend that you try this yourself. Okay. In order to make inked string pattern, what you need to do is you take a piece of paper, and then again the same way you fold it into half. Now what you do, open the sheet again. Take a string, any thread you can take, but make sure that it's little fat thread, not the very thin one, just a little fat thread. Then what you do, you dip that string in some colors. You can use different colors, different strings, okay? Then you put that string in any pattern on that particular one half of the paper. Then cover the paper and pull the string out. Okay, and when you pull the string out, it will make a symmetrical inked pattern on the folds due by the line of symmetry. I'll show you some images. This is the kind of images you will find if you're going to draw this kind of inked string patterns. So here you can see they have taken the string, right? And probably they have like put the rolls of this thread, and when you cover it with the paper, press it down, just pull the string out, and such kind of patterns are visible. And you can clearly see, you can see different colors. So you can draw different colors, different patterns, and beautiful patterns will come out. So you can try this yourself.